कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव। कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव। कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव। कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी हरि जय राधा माधव। कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव। कुंज बिहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा पदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा। गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र श्रीमद् डिवाइन ग्रेस AC भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन ब्यूटी फाउंडेशन श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन गुरु वृंद की जय। श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गो प्रेमानंद। ओम ज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Answers by citing the Lord's vision. Text number 32. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। यावन् अहं यथा भावो यद रूप गुणकर्मका तथैव तत्त्वविज्ञानम् अस्तु ते मद अनुग्रह। यावनहं यथा भावो यद रूप गुणकर्मका तथैव तत्त्वविज्ञानम् अस्तु ते मद अनुग्रह। यावन् अहं यथा भावो यद रूप गुणकर्मका तथैव तत्त्वविज्ञानम् अस्तु ते मद अनुग्रह। यावन् अहं यथा भावो यद्रूप गुणकर्मका तथैव तत्त्वविज्ञानम् अस्तु ते मद अनुग्रह। यावनहं यथा भावो यद्रूप गुणकर्मका तथैव तत्त्वविज्ञानम् अस्तु ते मद अनुग्रह। Yavan, as I am in the eternal form, aham, myself, yatha, as much as, bhavaha, transcendental existence, yad, those, rupa, various form and colors, guna, qualities, karmaka, activities, tatha, so and so, eva, certainly, tattva vijnanam, factual realization, astu, let it be, te, unto you, mat, my, anugrahat, by causeless mercy. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, kala, qualities and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy. So, let's see Prabhupada's purport. The secret of success in understanding the intricacies of knowledge of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is the causeless mercy of the Lord. Even in the material world, the father of many sons discloses the secret of his position to the pet son. The father discloses the confidence unto the son whom he thinks worthy. An important man in the social order can be known by his mercy only. Similarly, one must be very dear to the Lord in order to know the Lord. The Lord is unlimited. No one can know Him completely. But one's advancement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord can make one eligible to know the Lord. Here we can see that the Lord is sufficiently pleased with Brahmaji, and therefore he offers his causeless mercy to him, so Brahmaji may have the factual realization of the Lord by his mercy only. In the Vedas also it is said that a person cannot know the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, simply by dint of mundane education or intellectual gymnastics. One can know the supreme truth if one has unflinching faith in the bona fide spiritual master as well as in the Lord. Such a faithful person, even though illiterate in the mundane sense, can know the Lord automatically by the mercy of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita also it is said that the Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to everyone, and He keeps Himself concealed from the faithless by His Yogamaya potency. To the faithful, the Lord reveals Himself in His form, quality and pastimes. The Lord is not formless as wrongly conceived by impersonalists, but His form is not like one that we have experienced. The Lord discloses His form even to the extent of measurement to His pure devotees, and that is the meaning of Yavan, as explained by Srila Jiva Goswami, the greatest scholar of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Lord discloses the transcendental nature of His existence. The mundane wranglers make mundane conceptions of the form of the Lord. It is said in the revealed scriptures that the Lord has no mundane form. Therefore, persons with poor fund of knowledge conclude that He must be formless. They cannot distinguish between the mundane form and the spiritual form. According to them, without a mundane form, one must be formless. This conclusion is also mundane because formlessness is the opposite conception of form. Negation of the mundane conception does not establish a transcendental fact. In the Brahma Samhita it is said that Lord has transcendental form and that He can utilize any one of His senses for any purpose. For example, He can eat with His eyes and He can see with His leg. In the mundane conception of form, one cannot eat with one's eyes or see with his leg. That is the difference between mundane body and the spiritual body of Sat Chit Ananda. A spiritual body is not formless. It is a different type of body of which we cannot conceive with our present mundane senses. Formless therefore means devoid of mundane form, or possessing a spiritual body of which the non-devotee can have no conception by the speculative method. The Lord discloses to the devotees His unlimited varieties of transcendental bodies, all identical with one another with different kinds of bodily features. Some of the transcendental bodies of the Lord are blackish and some of them are whitish. Some of them are reddish and some are yellowish. Some of them are four-handed and some of them two-handed. Some of them are like the fish and some are like the lion. All these different transcendental bodies of the Lord without any differential category are disclosed to the devotees of the Lord by the mercy of the Lord, and thus the impersonalists' false arguments claiming the formlessness of the Supreme Truth do not appeal to a devotee of the Lord, even though such devotee may not be very advanced in devotional service. The Lord has unlimited numbers of transcendental qualities, and one of them is His affection for His unalloyed devotee. In the history of mundane world, we can appreciate His transcendental qualities. The Lord incarnates Himself for the protection of His devotees and for the annihilation of the faithless. His activities are in relationship with His devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam is full of such activities of the Lord in relationship with His devotees, and the non-devotees have no knowledge of such pastimes. The Lord lifted the Govardhan hill when He was only 7 years old and protected His pure devotees at Vrindavan from the wrath of Indra, who was overflooding the place with rain. Now this lifting of the Govardhan hill by a 7-year-old boy may be unbelievable for the faithless, but for the devotees it is absolutely believable. The devotee believes in the almighty potency of the Lord, while the faithless say that the Lord is almighty but do not believe in it. Such men with poor fund of knowledge do not know that the Lord is the Lord eternally, and that one cannot become the Lord by meditation for millions of years or by mental speculation for billions of years. The impersonalist interpretation of the mundane wranglers is completely refuted in this verse, because it is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord has His pastimes, forms, qualities, forms, pastimes, and everything that a person has. All these descriptions of the transcendental nature of the personality of Godhead are factual realizations by devotee of the Lord and by the causeless mercy of the Lord. They are revealed to His pure devotee and to no one else. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, again, very wonderful verse, a wonderful continuation. Krishna is speaking, Shri Bhagwan Vacha. I think yesterday and day before yesterday we had about this verse, talking on this verse. So 2:9, 31, 32, 33, 34. No? These are the seed verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the topic is answers by citing the Lord's vision. So the first thing that came to my mind when I started reading this chapter is this, how Srila Prabhupada is, when he started even Bhagavad Gita, he said, as it is. So keeping the Lord's vision, no interpretation. So in this verse, you can see, we can understand from the purport that Prabhupada is very strongly establishing the point that Krishna has a spiritual form. There is no formlessness. Because the verse itself is saying, all of me. So what does all of me? Namely his actual eternal form, transcendental existence, kala, qualities, activities. And then it says, let all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy. So very clearly we can understand Krishna is saying that I bless. Let it be. Let all be awakened. That's a way of blessing. You can say, may you, Krishna Matirastu, or we say, be eternally blessed, or something like that. So the wording of Krishna is, let all be awakened. So again, we all, being part and parcel of Krishna, we already have everything within. So it has to be awakened. Ignorance or forgetfulness is the cause for the suffering of the soul. So we have forgotten about Krishna, and therefore we are suffering. So Krishna is saying to Brahmaji, let all be awakened out of my causeless mercy. So here you can see, when Brahmaji was born in the beginning of creation, he didn't know anything. So then Brahmaji only heard the word tapa, and he engaged in tapasya. And he engaged in tapasya for 100 years. And then Krishna became pleased and appeared. And when Krishna appeared, Krishna is giving him the blessing. And Krishna is giving him the blessing, then Krishna is saying, out of my causeless mercy. So the other day I was hearing Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was saying, how in the Damodar Leela we learn two principles. One is effort, one is mercy of Krishna. So again the same principle is being saying, Brahmaji did 100 years of tapasya, yet today Krishna is saying, out of my causeless mercy. So even if you do tapasya, if Krishna is actually not being pleased, then the mercy will not come. Krishna is still saying, our point Maharaj was saying is, it's not only our effort that will invoke the blessings. Our efforts, our service will just do little, but it will really be on Krishna if he wants to reveal to you himself. So then Maharaj also gave the example that when when we hear the Damodar Leela, we are hearing the story of how Yashoda Maya was breastfeeding Krishna. And there was a pot of milk on the fire. So when the pot of milk on the fire started overflowing, Yashoda Maya put Krishna down and ran to save the milk. Why she needed to save the milk? Because she would make churn butter out of it, and it is for Krishna. So saving the milk was also service to Krishna, and she was already breastfeeding Krishna, so that was also service. But when she left Krishna down and she went for saving the milk, what was Krishna's reaction? Krishna was angry. Krishna was angry. So both are service. But then what is the right service for you? The correct service for you? So that is something basically one can know by their own blissfulness in Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna consciousness, the quality of Krishna is susukham. Krishna consciousness should be performed blissfully. So, if you are in the wrong service, then also causeless mercy will not come. So you have to be in the right service. And then, how do we know what's the right service for us? So again, I think Prabhupada here also mentions in the purport that in the second paragraph, Prabhupada is saying, we cannot, in the Vedas it is said that a person cannot know the absolute truth, personality of Godhead simply by dint of mundane education or intellectual gymnastics. Very beautifully Prabhupada says, na? We do logical thinking, we do speculations, we do all this. Prabhupada बोला है कि खाली इंटेलेक्ट के जिम्नास्टिक्स है. जैसे जिम करे आदमी तो हम लोग खाली अपन इंटेलेक्ट के जिम करता है, we feel good, हम फिट होता है, सिक्स पैक बनता है by logic, by speculation and everything. But Prabhupada बोले कि one can know the Supreme Lord if one has unflinching faith in the bona fide spiritual master as well as in the Lord. Jasya deve parabhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasyate katitha hi artha prakashante mahatmana. Prabhupada ji बोले, such faithful person, even though illiterate in the mundane sense, can know the Lord automatically by the mercy of the Lord. Mercy of the Lord. I sometimes think, when Jivanath Prabhu speaks, Jivanath Prabhu speaks with so much conviction. That conviction is not because of some very big thing. That conviction is just because of faithfulness. And I see it like that. Because Prabhu is very, very faithful to the spiritual master and to Prabhupada, to Prabhupada's books, teaching. So I don't know, but I haven't seen Prabhu reading anything more than Prabhupada's books. So I think that is so that is exactly what is said here. My experience, one of my realizations when I went for Tirtha this time is I'm seeing, so many devotees, so enthusiastic, so dedicated in seva and everything. And actually my realization was, or what I picked out was that the depth of devotional service lies in the simplicity and simple faith in Krishna. That's all. And one Maharaj was giving a class, a devotee was giving a class, and he said, you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, there are wonderful examples of pure devotees, and amidst the pure devotees, of course, pure devotees are completely fixed in Krishna consciousness. But then, to prove the point that these pure devotees fixed in Krishna consciousness, what is the state of their heart? What is the state of their mind? Krishna Bhagavatam is also giving us examples of pure devotee category, those devotees in the category of pure devotees, examples of devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, devotees like Dhruva Maharaj, and then even devotees like lower than human form. And this simply means the selflessness, the innocence, and these are the qualities of children. So devotional service, when executed in these mood, at this level, then one can raise to oneself to being a pure devotee. Of course, Srila Prabhupada says, we are in the process. So we are on the path, we are following a pure devotee, so we will become pure devotee. But at the same time, Srila Prabhupada has said that we make this lifetime the last. So that means from the time you join or you start practicing Krishna consciousness, you have to ensure that before you die, you have raised yourself. And Srila Gurudev Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to say that at least from Kanishta to Madhyam you should raise yourself. So Madhyam devotee is, a Kanishta devotee, she sees the deity in the temple as the Lord only, and no respect for anything else. But Madhyam devotee is seeing the devotees as well, because without the association of devotees, there is no hope for progress in Krishna consciousness. So here we see. So main point being that I started talking on is about causeless mercy of Krishna. So despite we put our effort, with our effort needs to go our very heartful, grateful, full of gratitude prayers to Krishna to invoke the causeless mercy. Despite putting so much effort, Krishna still it's Krishna's right. He is the owner of the mercy. So it has to be his choice when he wants to give the mercy. So we want to do everything that makes him. So Prabhupada, the first example Prabhupada gave is the position of a father and sons. A father may have many sons, but he will reveal things to the pet son. He will make a will and give it to the pet son. You know who's going to get what, and you getting the most or whatever. So whomever you trust or whomever you feel close with. So how does a father get trust of the son or the child? By the service of the child. And also in service, whilst we are doing service, just like a father can judge, this son is only, being good to me because he has some intention. That is why, there is pure unalloyed devotional service. Apratihata, ahituki apratihata. So it's unceasing and unmotivated devotional service. So that unmotivated devotional service, then Prabhupada goes to the next paragraph saying that it's the unflinching faith. It's the unflinching faith. So one devotee asked me, how do you develop faith? Because here we're talking about unflinching faith in the spiritual master. So how do you develop faith? So all of you can assist me, but my immediate response was, being in the association of faithful will strengthen your faith. It's very simple. I think it's very simple. Being in the association of... That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur also said that even amidst the Vaishnavas, because they put on Vaishnav Tilak, they put on Kanti Mala, even amidst the Vaishnavas, we have to be selective how we choose the association. And I'm not saying we be disrespectful for others, but select. Why we need to choose our association? We need to choose our association because in association there's a quality of revealing confidentially and inquiring. So you are learning. So whoever then we are learning from, then that has to be the right person. Otherwise what will happen? We may be deviated or we may be diluted in Krishna consciousness. Here the point is, how do we develop unflinching faith in bona fide spiritual master? So unless one has themselves unflinching faith. Like a very good example will be the own example of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, basically flooded the world with Krishna consciousness. Even now Prabhupada is physically not present, his Vani is still having effect. So I would want to know, how is this possible? Prabhupada predicted that this thing will go for the next 10,000 years. I want to know how is it possible. Sometimes I feel, the way things are, or what people, followers may be doing, or practicing devotees are practicing, that it looks very less hope that this thing will continue for 10,000 years. But then I want to know how will it happen. Of course, it's a Prabhupada is a pure devotee, and therefore it will happen. But if you go on further, Prabhupada, despite being pure devotee, Prabhupada always makes reference to the order of his spiritual master. So if you look at the other way, how can one become a pure devotee? When we follow the order of the spiritual master. So Prabhupada received the instruction to preach to the Western English-speaking world. Prabhupada was sort of, in our language we'll say Prabhupada stuck with it for 11 years. Then Prabhupada took initiation, then Prabhupada's Grihastha life and everything until 1964-65. Then Prabhupada. So again, it's a test for all of us, or it should be motivation for all of us. That just 1-2 years of practice, 5 years of practice, does not mean we'll immediately and we start saying questioning Krishna. We come here, fight with Krishna. What's happening? Why is it like that? Look at the great example of his Prabhupada just held on to the order of the spiritual master, and look at what has happened. So definitely very powerful point. It's a very simple thing. That one has to have faith in the words of the spiritual master and dedicate oneself to the instruction of the spiritual master. Just like in this world, we do so many. Even in a workplace, as soon as you lose control of your role, then what happens? There's so many things, you can't complete anything, you are just overburdened, you are going berserk, you run from this to this to this to this to this. But successful people are those who are able to focus on their roles and responsibility, what you are required to do, what role you play. So that is why when Krishna says, it is better to do your own duty imperfectly than others' duty perfectly. Actually, you'll just overload yourself. And overloading means it will start putting doubts in your mind as to the simple faith in the spiritual master, in the holy name, in the potency of association with devotees, into serving the deities, and in Mathuravas, the 5 principles of devotional service. You start doubting it. Initially we come to Krishna consciousness, so we very well understand, we are going to live in a Mathuravas, so we make our home like a temple, we take away all, unwanted things, make it simple so that, we can have time for chanting, we read, we do all these things. But over a period of time, all these things slip away. Why? Why do all these things slip away? Because when we joined Krishna consciousness, we came to Krishna, we started reawakening Krishna consciousness, our focus was very clear. But as we sort of started looking into others' boundaries, then our mind gets contaminated and confused. So then it will affect to the root. The root is unflinching faith in the words of the spiritual master. So the root will be affected. Once the root is shaken, then the tree of devotional service will gradually start dwindling. So then we will start going away from Krishna consciousness. Then Prabhupada says, to the faithful, the Lord reveals himself in his form, quality and pastime. So Krishna himself gives revelation in terms of his form, qualities and pastime. The Lord is not formless as wrongly conceived by the impersonalists. So Prabhupada is then quoting that the Lord discloses his form even to the extent of measurement. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, when he was protected, so then Bhagavatam even is able to, Sukadeva Goswami is even able to describe that the Lord was, size of the thumb, the measurement. Or even Nrsingadev 7th canto, describes when Lord Nrsingadev appeared and he shook his head like this, his hair was touching the sky, the clouds were getting. So, pure devotee, and Prabhupada says here, even the non-devotees, they even call him Almighty, but they don't believe in his almighty potency. This is so funny about it, So Krishna is again saying that he has a form, he is not formless. He has qualities. So it is transcendental. We are limited in our vision because we are seeing everything in the 24 elements. Everything made out of earth, water, fire. So we are looking at Krishna like that. But Krishna is Sachidanand. And Prabhupada gives the example, quoting Brahma Samhita, Angani yasya sakalendriya vriti manti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti. So every sense of Krishna or every part of Krishna can do the function of the different part. So Prabhupada gives the example of the eyes, Krishna eats through the eyes. When you make an offering, Krishna looks at it, he's eaten it. Krishna can see through the legs, with the legs. So like that. But because we are very conditioned, so we keep thinking the mundane way. Gradually, even sometimes, even our own homes or in the temples, we are worshipping the deities, but then we start seeing the deities as mundane. So Prabhupada says, that's why, even in our home, we should say a service. Everyone in the home should do service, or in the temple, all the congregational members should do service, because that way we want to avoid familiarity. If you avoid familiarity, then what happens, once you become too familiar, even with devotees, even with spiritual master. That's why we have that. This morning I was reciting the 10 offenses, then the third offense is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master and consider an ordinary person. So we consider an ordinary person is also offensive mentality. So that will then spoil the whole progress of Krishna consciousness and our own progress in terms of being the pure devotee. Why do we need to be pure devotee? Because only when we do that, then Krishna will reveal. The Lord has unlimited numbers of transcendental qualities, and one of them is His affection for His unalloyed devotees. This is affection for His unalloyed devotees. So Krishna loves everyone. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am equal to everyone. Krishna says, I am impartial. But Krishna says, I love my devotees. So again, this is very difficult to understand. How can Krishna be equal to everyone yet love his devotees? Because as soon as you say, I love my devotees, means, there is impartiality. There's someone you love more, and there's others, not that you don't like them, but you like them, but still. So it's very confusing. So with the intellectual gymnastics, we cannot understand, how this thing happens. But when we follow, like Prabhupada, follow the example. That's why sometimes, people might say that, I can go back to Krishna. Krishna is my spiritual master. Or Narad Muni is my own spiritual master, like that. But, we need to follow the example set by devotees. And that is why there is need of Diksha, Shiksha, Marpadasha, the various types of spiritual masters that come in our life. And their examples is what motivates us. Their examples is what motivates. No one here can say, the other day we were having a class and we discussed this point, that I think, hardly or no one of us here would say, I woke up in the morning, I just walked out my house and just kept walking on the road, and I ended up at Hare Krishna temple. I was searching for Krishna and ended up here. No one is like that. Either someone receives some prasadam, or receives some book, or saw some devotees. That was the beginning of our interest. That was the beginning of our awakening. It's like we always say, Vasudeva Prabhu saw the devotees doing Harinam, so he wanted to know who's changed the white man into devotee. So it was the devotees who pass on the mercy of Krishna. We got prasadam and they say, I had prasadam at that place, in a wedding, and it was very tasty, it was without onion and garlic, and then we say, okay, it was the Hare Krishna devotees cooked it. So that's where the devotees come in. So only by devotees. And that is why Krishna has so much affection for his unalloyed devotees. And also, Prabhupada says that, again Prabhupada writes, the Lord discloses to the devotee his unlimited varieties of transcendental bodies. Common man cannot understand how can Krishna be half man, half lion. How can Krishna have a boa incarnation? How can Krishna... Sometimes, you can be very confused. If Krishna is God, why does he need to take the boa incarnation to save the earth? If Lord is Almighty, he would have just... From Vaikuntha, he doesn't have to take a form to come here. He can just say, Simon says, earth come up. And the earth should come up. We're saying Krishna is the controller of everything. Krishna even doesn't have to kill Hiranyaksha. He should just say, someone says, head cut off, and the head falls off. But Krishna is, again, it's about unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, and so when we have this kind of faith, then all these things, what is indicative? What is the principle that's coming out of this when Krishna has to come and interact? It is reciprocation, personal relationship. Personal relationship. It's like, if anybody of our own falls sick, we personally attend. Of course, Guru Seva's role is different. You are a doctor, so you have to attend everyone. Yeah, she's on transcendental platform. She's like a Jagat Guru kind of thing. So you take care of everyone. But conditions are like us. If somebody else is sick, I might not go and see. But if somebody is related to me, then I go and attend. So similarly, Krishna is very affectionate to his pure devotees. So when his pure devotees are in trouble, Krishna goes himself. Krishna goes himself. And then the way he does it, he comes as boa incarnation or fish incarnation or Nrsimhadev incarnation. It actually, what we can say, deepens and heightens the love of the devotee for the Lord. Look at Prahlad Maharaj, he's standing before Nrsimhadev. We may not be fully realized, but at least we can imagine, how Prahlad Maharaj would be feeling, seeing that Lord Vishnu. He was always saying, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. He knows the form of the Lord is, four-handed. But seeing, Nrsimhadev standing there to protect him, just imagine how his heart must be overflowing with love for Krishna, that, Krishna is, done such an amazing thing for my protection. So it just deepens. That's why Krishna that's why Prabhupada is saying here that Krishna discloses to the devotees unlimited varieties of transcendental bodies. And also his qualities, his form and everything. These are all transcendental. So it only just binds and tightens the relationship of a pure devotee and Krishna. So we all pray, and I think, there are many things we can keep discussing. We studied, Bhakti Shastri and all that, there's many more things you can. But very simply, I wanted to focus on unflinching faith to the spiritual master, and that became, of course, we have to put effort in devotional service, but at the end of the day, we must realize, and that is why the pure devotees always realizing that everything is happening by Krishna's will. So everything is Krishna's mercy. The obstacles are Krishna's mercy, the good times are Krishna's mercy, the bad times are Krishna's mercy, whatever it is all actually Krishna's causeless mercy. So we'll stop here now. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Any comments? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It's Prabhupada's blessing. All bless you, Prabhupada. So, Jivana Prabhu is a very good example of how faith evolves knowledge. Very living example we can see. Faith is what Prabhupada says, mundane education is not what gives success. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.